So, Lee, do you mind doing the first walking through to the first turn? Just have to really get on the right. So, just so for those that can see it, if that's all right. So.
Yeah, super. So it goes back into Shikidachi, and the left hand comes to the centre. And depending on your style, it'll either come here to there, or up, or down.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then up into fancy with a grab.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes the step might be missed. It'll go straight in, but goes to there.
Yeah.
Then twist. Then steps through to here. Hand position varies with the angle. In, kick, back, elbow. This way.
More or less exactly as I did. So that first little sequence, we can all do that to one guy. You know what I mean? So we'll build it up. Obviously, we won't do it all in one go, but we'll just go off. So the point that Lee mentioned at the start there is that, and this is one of the things that I always look for, is if something is varied a lot between the styles, it often means it's not significant. Do you know what I mean? So if every style does it exactly the same way, then it must be deemed that this movement is very important. If you can go straight, if you can go over, it can go under with the hand, it must be important. You know what I mean? Because they all do it useful kind of that way. So one is you can step back and take the eye, you know what I mean? You know, sometimes you can't step back, you know what I mean? So you can either view it as a kind of going, if you've got room, move away. If you haven't got room, you're going to have to move forwards. You know what I mean? If you were standing up against something, for example, right? But it's just simple old things. But for the sake of the job, we'll put them together and we'll assume his hands haven't gone completely. Right? So again, strangle from there, I've gone in, I've taken the eye, I've got over under, it doesn't really make any difference. The next thing I'm going to do is this arm's going to come underneath to here, I'm going to seize my own hand. And then from there, I'm going to rip over in this direction and take him over. Once I've done that, I step with this foot and come straight across with the elbow to do some damage. We haven't finished with him yet, because we need the team keep going, so we'll keep the flow going. So 1, 2, 3. So everyone okay with that one? And again, that would work if there. You know, and if I can't move backwards, if I just manage to get the thumb to an eye to get some space, if I can get my arms in from there, and I can use that back and bring his head into the line of the elbow. So okay, give that one a shot when it through, or from there, move it through to here, rolling it through and back. Okay, if I want to follow the movement, the next kata from there, if I want to keep it going, although this point here, that impact's okay, but you think about your attack lines again. You know, if I've got a crack, you know, I mean, again, you know, if I'm choking and I'm running out of air, this is a kind of bang, it's fair enough. But again, that's what's going to happen, isn't it? You know, hands coming up to protect his face, it doesn't quite work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this arm here to guide that one past. As I adjust my feet from there, move to the side, then straighten down into his groin with my other hand. So I'm doing the same as what the form does, yeah? So if I've gone from, again, same thing again, so I've got to do the elbow and he's whipped it, he's jammed it in some fashion, just okay, I'm going to clear those out. I want them taking out the path. I'm going to step my body weight to the side from there and go straight down with the groin with it. Which again would be like what the kata shows us in the shoe. Again, various hand positions change, but you get the whole idea. Does that kind of make sense? Because you know, again, I mentioned this before, you get this in kata a lot, you get, well what if? Yeah. So I've gouged his eyes, well what if he doesn't let go at that point, or what if I can't move back? Well in that case, you'll rip it off here, that'll bring his head through an elbow. Well what if he jams it, we'll move his arm out of the way, hit him in the groin. If he's protecting his head, his hands are up. You know, if he's not protecting his head, the elbow would have hit him. If he's protecting his head, his arms will be up so the groin will be exposed. That kind of makes sense? Yeah, okay, so we're just going to kind of flow through that. Okay, you know, arms come up by different ones, followed by that. Yeah, but, well, I think of limb cleaving. You know, it's that kind of, because you've got this thicket kind of up here now with these arms being in. So and again, you know, the kind of gives a given sequence, but it doesn't really, you know, if the arms are up, you know, I can do that at any point. Do you know what I mean? You know, we're going to do this and do that at any point. It just so happens I kind of teach it in a little drill. Almost like a little scenario. So we've got from there, 1, 2, 3, which he's managed to block. Move to the side here. And it's alright hitting him in the groin a bit on the outside, but as we all know, ideally what I want is head and neck, because that's where unconsciousness ensues. So as I go from there, I say to move forward, to bring this arm up, that'll turn him through, I open up straight for the shooter. Alright, so I just take the arm off to the side from there as well. So I think, okay, if he's covered the elbow, I think all his energy is going that direction. So it wouldn't make sense for me at this point to try and drive past it. I go, if that's it, yeah, that's it. As I resist, that's what I'm feeling. So if that's the way his arms want to go, that's fine. But once I hit the groin, then I can open back up and come back this way again. That kind of makes sense. So, you know, so and here again, so again, we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Then we can kick him and hit him a few more times. But you know, we talk about this idea about katas tend to start with simple stuff and then kind of ramp up. And the important thing they always want to teach first is how to control limbs. You know what I mean? And they'll pick an example to kind of illustrate concept. You know, if he grabs you, what do you do? Stick your thumb in his eye. You know what I mean? It's like unsu again. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, you know, that's a good one. It's simple and it takes no skill. You know what I mean? So it makes sense there, and then it kind of flows in, you see. And again, like I say, although it's given a little drill, it's not really the drill that's important, it's a concept. And you know, we've looked at that many examples on the weekend. I'm sure you are seeing that it's all the same stuff repackaged in different ways, you know. You know, the same principle has been applied. So we've got from there, that brings his head forwards, we've got here, we move there, we've got there. Next thing that follows is a kick. Right, so what I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for that leg there and I'm going to blast it. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, and again, you can adjust this if you need to, but I'm kicking straight in, and that's what I'm looking for. You're okay with that concept? So it's again a kick to there, to the low line. So again, starts off 1, 2, 3, moves to here, move through, clack. Okay, to there to finish it off. It's for the moment. Yep. So we're okay with that? Mm-hmm. Still try and have that arm when you do that, because we're going to need it for the next bit. Leg kick, so we're alright with that. So long as it's the back one. What I mean is it doesn't matter if it's left or right, it's just the back one. You know what I mean? So again, we're doing it from the drill there. We've got this here, there, here, here. Now this moment here, that leg is too close. I can knee it, but it's too close to kick that back leg from there. Bang. If his legs were the other way around, which is beyond my control from there, then I wouldn't kick this long with that one. Bang. Is everyone okay with that idea? So it's the back leg you kick, not the left or the right, it's the back one. And it doesn't matter which way around they are really. I mean, typically, you know, because of the fact you pull on this side, you know, this is the side you can work, and then it'll be the other one here. But if it was the other way around, just kick that one anyway. Everyone okay with that? You see, it feels nice, and that's the point, is that flow is the management of failure thing, you know. The idea is I poke him in the eye, and he kind of moves away from me, and I turn and run. Or I whip him and hit him with the elbow, and he falls in a big heap. You know what I mean? Although it can be enjoyable to do the flow, as I said before, you don't want flow in reality. You want it to end quick, you know what I mean? Flow is just the management of failure. But the little sequence flows quite well. It gives you a chance to work various principles and ideas and limb clearance and all that kind of stuff. So same idea again from there to here, there, here. Take that back leg. Look where his head ends up. What I want to do is, I could just go crack straight from here, but what I want you to do is I want you to pass that arm as you do it. Okay, that's why I need it, because I want to keep control of it. It also means I'm on the outside. So I'll bring that from there, bang, as the elbow comes through. Okay, next one from there, hopefully, is a pulse, really. As that one goes, bang, for my second shot. Okay, so I'll bring his head down and I'll kind of whip him one way and then I'll whip him the other way. If I'm going to this arm here, I'm on the outside and I'm safe with it. So that's the kind of tricky bit, if you like. You just got to pass the arm across as you maintain control over it. So one, I'm sorry, I'm going the other way, there, here, from there, bang, bang. Okay, I saw anything through, had that lovely phrase in Karate Don't Cry Can't, where he said, never be shackled by the rituals of kata, but instead move freely according to your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Right, so the kata as we've got it steps back and the kind of brings his elbow across here, right? And that assumes that from that position, when you've done your kick, you've got a head fall forward, you pull and there it is, boom. You know, I mean, the elbow's there. Now, if I was to do the kick and he falls right away from me and ends up over there, well, I shouldn't be doing this. Because I've been shackled by the rituals of kata. So if that happens, and then from there it will be here. You know, so the kata goes backwards, but if he falls that way, then I would move into this position. Does that make sense? So you know, you'll be somewhere between those two extremes, really. So if your kicks in the elbow range isn't quite right, you can step in and do it. Or you can even substitute. You know, so give him a slap and then bang the other way. Do you know what I mean? It's never be. Remember, the kata is like an illustration of concept. It's not a model that we slavishly follow. As I said before, he could say, well, you could do an elbow, you could do an elbow here, you could do an elbow there, you could step back, you could step forward, and he could run through every single possible variation. It would be pointless. It just goes like, here's something that, you know, the majority of the time you kick him, his head will be within elbow range. But if it's not, you need to adjust. So go up the eyes, step in, move through an elbow. If that doesn't work, move through here. We kick him, pass the arm, we elbow, and we elbow. I've got an arm. I'll turn my body away from him like the kata does. This arm comes across, this arm comes down. So that arm will go underneath, that one will go out from here to here. So I've got the arm, you know, so after all that, you know, I mean, I've battered his legs, I've kind of battered his head a few times, and you know what, just a good measure. I'm having that as well. They're okay with that one, so you've got the kind of cat stance from there as well, from this position. And then whatever you want to do after that. So everyone okay with that one? So you see that the kind of fulcrum wants to be above the elbow joint. So you've got that there, this one wants to be below it from there, and you've got that just kind of momentary arm pop. Okay, from here. which again appears later on in the form as well, with a slightly different guide. So everyone okay to give that a, yeah, done a shot, right? So you sometimes see it done this way around, right? So it's done on the inside that this is, I mean, if he's got it on fully, it can be hard to count. It's one of these weird little things though. If you can slap your arm in there, push down, he loses it. So if you put that lock on there, Lee, right, that's it, good. Right, now okay, so put it on now, right? There we go. If I get the arm into there, he loses it. Even if I'm not strong enough to pull it off, it just stops it. Is everyone okay with that one? So you just slide that arm in through the gap and push down there, and then you can start to wrestle it free. Which is why you're better off with this way around. Right, you're on the outside of it, because if you want to do that one, that's right. I can't get my arm through that gap. Do you know what I mean? So from there, I mean, he's aware that I might try and, you know, if the arm comes high, you've got that, of course, eh? You know what I mean? So you can give him that as well. If you're looking at that, so you've got that there, and then the guy does the same lock again, right? One way, if you've done the double-handed thing, you know, single-handed. You know what I mean? What I thought is one hand's left on. You know what I mean? So I do my kind of ripping off thing, and oh, this happens. Do you know what I mean? I move one off, but one's left on. So, you know, like we did before, I've gone for my eye gouge. I've gone and put my arms through, maybe move, take one arm off, and this one's left on. Or the other one's left on, depending on which way I've done it, right? So I'm still getting my throat squeezed. So what happens if the arm's still left on side? Like here. You know, I just knock the arm down and hit him, then one, and take his throat. Then what can I do, Sensei? Oh, then you can turn and put the arm bar on that you did before. Well, what if that doesn't work? Then you can elbow him with the face, turn around and hit him in the grunt. You know what I mean? So there's another little sequence that kind of relates to it all there as well, you see. So the escape, you know, we kind of skipped ahead to that, but then the same idea, what if, you just see it every form, like. So, you know, so if I've started off as I did it, I went from there and, you know, I've gone to do my turn and suddenly I have one arm left on, well, I just continue it from here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just move on to whatever I wanted to do. Or, you know, the other side, for the other same side of the camera. Is everyone right with that?
So in theory, the longer the cards are, the more inquisitive the students.
That's what that's what yeah. Okay, that's it. That's long enough. So yeah, so again, just the same idea, right? So if you take the arm off, well, you've got left with one arm. So you would impact, you would go from here again, following the kata, and then we've got this. Let's take the horizontal throw. You know, then you've got the option of turning and moving again. If that doesn't work for you, you've got the option of elbowing if your version goes high. If it doesn't, again, you just move through and strike. And then again, whatever you want to do to finish it off. Everyone okay with that? Being, you know, the next arm, less with it. Got that bit, which was the arm bar that we had this afternoon, right? So if we'd done that thing again and one arm's left on, hit this arm here. Because what you don't want to do is close. As soon as you feel it kind of, you know, if it's backing off, you know, it needs to be off down there, you know, because if it's allowed to get a good grip, you're in big trouble. That obviously drops and hits his head from here. And then I just follow what he was trying to do to me. Yeah. And I've got one of the options of the cat has it is and it turns. And you've got the arm bar again, if that's not working for you, then you've got that turn around and move through to here. Yeah. Okay, been the little sequence. You know, and again, it just flow on. Okay, what happens if, you know, that's all very well and good, Sensei, but I've just found me had one hand left when I ripped it off. Yeah. Okay, leave that for now, because in most cases you rip it off, both hands will come off. Right, okay, then finish that little drill. You know, you said to me that, you know, you might have one hand left on. Well, that's what that bit is. Yeah, what if his arm doesn't work? Oh yeah, you can spin around out of it as well. So you've got a little kind of what-if sequence put at the end of the main sequence. Okay? Everyone okay? Do that apply? Yeah.